This is the 26th.
The 26th of February. My twin sisters, will be 63 years old tomorrow.
You're getting old.
They're only 4.5 years younger than me because I'm not 68 yet. When I'm 68, they're 5 years younger than me.
Yet. Keyword is.
Isn't that how it works?
Keyword is yet.
Yeah, right. I'm waiting to exhale.
I keep inhaling.
Yeah, well, Bill Clinton didn't inhale, but that's a different point.
That's what he said. So I've got my very good friend here, Dino Fenton. Part 2 of our podcast regarding sports, right? You want to discuss sports?
Yes, sir. How about the NFL and the Super Bowl and a little bit of bagpipe?
Yeah, come right here with the mic.
A little bit of Scotland for us tonight. Something to lighten the mood a little bit for the sake of fun. You know, we had a little short conversation about baseball before we start with football, and now they changed the shot clock in baseball. There's a pitching clock. I think it's 20 seconds or 25 seconds, and if the pitcher doesn't pitch in that time, it's a ball. If the batter's not ready in that time, it's a strike. And it's going to change the way we watch baseball and see baseball for a while.
When did they implement that rule?
This year starts this year.
It does.
The pitch clock has been there, but they didn't call balls and strikes on it.
Right.
They just they I don't even know if they penalized.
Yeah.
Yeah, they I don't know. I don't think there was a penalty for it up to
There was
now.
a ball.
It was a ball. There was no strike.
There was no strike.
No strike count. So they changed it up quite a bit, and it'll be interesting to watch because it equates
itself.
to me personally. It equates to the way football players, if it's 3rd down and 15, the football defensive linemen gear up to rush the passer on the shot clock, on the play clock. So now a base runner can gear up to run on the pitch clock. However, we had the part of the discussion that we had today was because the home run is now more prevalent, the actual guys that can hit the ball aren't your base stealers. The base stealers are guys that get on base by getting a walk, and they can't hit. So they don't last in baseball long enough. So we think it's not going to affect the 130 steal season. That's the record Ricky Henderson holds, 130 in one season.
Not Ricky.
Huh?
Not Ricky.
Yeah, Ricky Henderson holds the record.
It's broken.
Who broke 130?
Coleman.
No, Coleman had 118.
No, Ricky didn't. He broke Ricky's.
Well, okay, but it's not debatable, but that's okay. Because Lou Brock had 108, and then Coleman had 118, and Ricky Henderson has 130. Ricky Henderson's the all-time steal leader too, most steals lifetime. He's got the most home runs as a leadoff man.
And Ricky should be in like the top 10 players of all time.
He should be top 10 players of all time,
seriously,
without a doubt.
The way he did offensively, defensively,
is terrific. He was Barry Bonds light,
and the specialty of being the best base stealer ever.
There's Barry Bonds light with the base stealing acumen. You know, Barry Bonds wasn't a leadoff man, but he hit a lot of home runs.
Bonds did 40 for 40 though, along with Canseco.
40 for 40.
Canseco was the first one.
The home run leader, lifetime and season. So there, and he was a base stealer, but I don't think the base clock or the pitch clock would affect those hitters because they were pure hitters. Guys that hit 700 home runs or guys that hit 600 home runs, they're still going to hit 600 home runs, shot clock or base pitch clock or no pitch clock.
It's tough. It's tough to say because those guys were also hitting against pitchers that were pitching all 9 innings, not against a guy that went 4.5, who manager didn't give a shit whether the guy gets a win or not. He just wants to be able to have the best pitcher out there. So,
and truthfully,
so now they pull him early. They got a no decision. The team comes back in a win, and they got a reliever going 6-0.
yeah, we'll kind of leave it there. But Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds are locks on the Hall of Fame when they figure out how good those guys actually were. And I'm not saying the change in the rules is going to make that happen, but Barry Bonds is a 5-tool player, and like Danny said, they pitched 5 innings out. Clemens pitched 8 all the time, 7 or 8,
Yeah.
and he's got 353 wins. The next guy ahead of him is Greg Maddux with 355. That's incredible stuff. Just talking about it in general. But he should be in the Hall of Fame, Roger Clemens, and Barry Bonds definitely.
All they had to do was just come out and just admit that they used like everybody else. And they'd be in.
And
They'd be in.
Well, and the owners should collaborate, like they do on their black.
All right, we're back. Sorry about that. Technical difficulty.
Back and going to football.
All right, we're going to football.
And I think we let off. in 1990 or so, but I think we were. I think we missed. I think we passed through the Buffalo Bills and their 4-in-a-row losses. I think we got to that point, but we can recap that real quickly.
No, we didn't get to that because we stopped 89.
We stopped at 89 with the 49ers.
We didn't get to 90.
Okay,
Because
and
we
then,
stopped. We were going to do the 90s.
so let's just back up. Let's back up to 87 with the New York Giants and Denver. And the New York Giants had Lawrence Taylor and Phil Simms. Phil Simms set records that year for in the Super Bowl for pass completions, I believe.
20 to 24.
And then Lawrence Taylor, I think, was the MVP of that.
I think he had 3 sacks.
And then we go ahead to the Redskins and Denver in 1988.
Doug Williams.
Doug Williams and Timmy Smith with the record for the most yards in a Super Bowl, 201, I think. But
yeah, he's just.
And
just
then
broke 200.
And then Williams was the MVP. Doug Williams was the
Doug
MVP
Williams was, yeah.
of that Super Bowl.
I think he threw 5 touchdowns.
I don't remember the score, but I think that sounds right.
They ran up into the high 40s.
And then 1989, we got the rematch of Cincinnati and the 49ers.
That was a great game. John Taylor.
John Taylor, and then we got
right down the middle because they were all covering, doubling
Rice.
Jerry Rice.
And they got Eric Kumrow broke his ankle in the first quarter of the game.
Fib Tib, and then played and then sat on the sidelines the whole second half without
Right.
pain pills and said he wasn't going to the hospital.
Boomer, and he didn't want to leave the game. Boomer, he didn't want to leave the field. Boomer Esiason was quarterback for Cincinnati that year, and Jerry Rice was the MVP. And then they had a back-to-back, and the next year it was the 49ers in Denver when they won 55-10.
They were indoors, and I think that might have been in New Orleans, maybe, or indoor, or maybe the Superdome. But they were indoors because it was a fast.
They just
game.
killed them. They just crushed them. It
rolled.
wasn't even a game after the first half.
Was it Roger Craig?
Roger
Or
Craig
was
playing.
it Ricky Waters then? Ricky Waters played, and he had over 10,000 yards.
Yeah, I can't. I know Craig was there in the early '80s games, but I don't think in 1990. I think Waters might be the guy.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
But they were still passing because Joe Montana.
And yeah, they had a great tight end that year too.
Yeah, and their defense was unbelievable.
And Haley.
Right, they got the guy from the Cowboys.
Well, no,
he went to the Cowboys after that.
And got 3 more with the Cowboys.
He used to be the guy with the most Super Bowl rings. Charles Haley.
Exactly, before
Brady.
Exactly. He had 5. Right?
5. I think 5. Right, Brady's got 7.
Yeah. He got 2 with San Francisco and 3 with Dallas.
And he was an unbelievable player. On top of that,
and he came out of a real small school too.
Yeah, I don't know where he came from, but he was, wonder why he didn't get an MVP in the Super Bowl. But I'm not saying he probably deserved one, but they were so good otherwise. And the offensive line was
also had
crazy.
Emmett Smith and Troy Aikman.
Right, Emmett Smith. So it's hard to get over that for real. So in 91's a pretty simple one. We got the New York Giants playing the New York Super Bowl. New York Giants and Buffalo. Buffalo's got the game, and Norwood misses it at 3 seconds to go or 5 seconds to go. And that was the winner.
That was terrible.
And Otis Anderson, MVP of the Super Bowl for the Giants.
Marv should have won at least one.
Can't
because he's that good of a guy too.
Yeah, the coach of,
and it wasn't his fault that Norwood missed that field goal.
No, he shouldn't have missed. But
so Marv should have a Super Bowl.
Minnesota, same coach, 4 Super Bowls, but not back to back to back to back. And they lost them all, and a couple were close. And I don't even. We're not going back there, but they got beat. They had players though. They had Fran Tarkenton, Joe Kapp,
George Foreman,
Chuck Foreman.
They had the Purple People Eaters. They had a great team.
Yeah, somebody just asked
great
me.
Coach too, Buck Carson.
So somebody just asked me the other day about
come on,
about Alan Page.
Yeah,
of course he went from the Minnesota to the Bears, but he's a Supreme Court judge in Minnesota today, for the sake of history in that regard. But now, so then in 1992, the Redskins played Buffalo, and I think they destroyed them.
Yeah,
I don't think it was a close game.
No,
and that's where we got Mark Rippon as the MVP.
Washington State
for Washington.
He went to Washington State.
Oh, he did. He's still around. I don't. Might be coaching for somebody, not head coach, but he's around somewhere. You hear his name once in a while.
Coach, yeah.
And I was looking at this just yesterday, and I think that Jimmy Johnson was the coach of Dallas now in '93, and he might have been the coach in '92, but something tells me that they were 1-15 the year before they won the Super Bowl. But was that 1992, the Cowboys?
Well, they drafted Aikman.
Right. He played in the 1-15 year.
Yeah, they had, yes, because he started right out of college, out of UCLA.
So that must have been 92.
And they, yeah.
And then they won.
And Barry Switzer won a championship.
Well, Barry Switzer won in
The third one.
the third one, which was 96.
Correct.
So yeah, Dallas, Troy Aikman,
Jimmy
and
won 2 back to back with Dave Wannstedt as the defensive coordinator and Norv Turner as the offensive coordinator.
Wannstedt, not the defensive coordinator for Dallas. Did he got?
Yeah,
That's
was.
after the Bears.
No, it's before he got the head coaching job because this was 93. He didn't get the head coaching job
Till
till
95.
after. Yeah. Because he was there until I think Lovey in 2000, right?
There's somebody in between those guys, but they're so bad it doesn't really matter. But Dallas won. They beat Buffalo back to back, 93 and 94. And we got Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith as the back to back MVPs. Troy in 93 and Emmitt in 94. And we got the 49ers coming back around with Steve Young in 95 against that's the California Super Bowl against the Chargers.
It was.
With Eric Coryell and Junior Seau. And Junior Seau was a great player.
22 years in the league, middle linebacker.
Tremendous talented player.
Top 5 linebacker.
And I think he played at the University of Hawaii.
No, he played at USC.
At USC.
I was in Southern California living in Laguna Cal when he was at USC, and we were the same age. It was 89. And he was a sophomore at the time, and then he came on his junior year after he just dominated. And then he came out and played in his hometown because he was from Oceanside, just north of San Diego. That's where he shot himself. That's where he had a house. That's where he was from.
So Eric Coryell.
Don Coryell with the Chargers, with Dan Fouts, Kellen Winslow, Johnny Jefferson,
John Jefferson, right.
Chuck Muncie.
I don't think Kellen Winslow was still there in 95, but
no.
Those
but
were the great players.
Back in the 80s.
Chuck Muncie with the goggles, wearing goggles while he was playing. Another guy that went to USC, correct?
The dual bar, yeah.
And so they, those were good games to watch, because the Chargers had a good defense.
Freddie Washington
and the guy Neil, big defensive lineman. Neil was his first name.
Bob was his last name. Neil and Bob.
No, sounds good though. But yes, I might come up with that before we're done with this. But they had great players.
You know who they had too? Well, I loved back then.
The Chargers?
Yeah.
Defensive or offensive?
I mean, Junior Seau was my favorite.
He was a tremendous player.
He was my second. Brian Urlacher was probably, I don't know.
Ronnie Lott was fun to watch with the 49ers. He wasn't a linebacker per se, but he was fun to watch. And then Lawrence Taylor.
LT is the best.
Yeah, in that position, he redefined the position like Devin Hester redefined the kickoff, kickback
North Carolina.
position.
All he did was just let him run towards the football.
It's unbelievable.
They really changed the game.
They couldn't stop him.
Oh.
No two guys could stop him.
No, because they always had to put a running back in his side that chipped off the tackle.
Definitely changed the game for the rest of the defensive linemen. Lawrence Taylor did. That's not questionable.
And then 97 started.
97 with Lawrence Taylor?
No, 97 Super Bowl.
97 Super Bowl. We're talking about that's the New England era starting, but that was Drew
Bledsoe.
Bledsoe
almost died
in the game.
Well, that's how Tom Brady got his start.
Well,
he was backing up Drew Bledsoe. Bledsoe got crushed in the sternum and had internal bleeding, and that's why they call him Drew bled so much he almost died.
In that game, I got you. He bled so much. Yeah.
Bledsoe, Montreal
Yes,
Mustard.
yes.
Get it?
Oh, that football humor is, I'm out. Phew,
Wasted.
yeah,
Comedy wasted.
like Peanut would say with Jeff Dunham.
Exactly. Comedy wasted on Dino.
Yeah. Sometimes it sinks in. Sometimes there's just a hard head.
It just bounces right
You need to
off.
drill a hole, put something in there.
So
But Green Bay and New England, huh? Green Bay and New England. That's the Brett Favre.
that was New England or New
Green
Orleans.
Bay
I
in
think
the
they're going New
Superdome.
Orleans, in the Superdome.
Desmond Howard running
Desmond
back,
Howard
running back
the kickoff or the-
kicks.
yeah.
He didn't run back the first kickoff of the game as Devin Hester did, but he was the MVP.
He was.
And New England was good.
Reggie White.
Reggie White for Green Bay, the Minister of Defense.
He was one of the best ever by far.
He had the sack lead, didn't he, before Strahan?
And he was a defensive tackle too.
Yeah. Hard to get that from that position.
Massive man.
That's how good he was.
And then he would move to end and just bowl over a tackle like he wasn't even there.
Yeah. He was
all over.
He was unstoppable in the down position, without a doubt. Died too young. Could have taught a lot of guys how to play.
He died from sleep apnea.
He did die from sleep apnea, didn't he?
Yeah. That's why I wear my mask so I don't die.
Which is something that
a lot of guys over 16, 17-inch necks plus who always get their sleeping checked.
For some reason, and I think it's for me it's not heredity, but it's maybe it is because they didn't use that stuff for our ancestors.
They just let them snore and they just slept in separate beds.
Right.
Bedrooms.
Right. Too loud. It's the other way around, doesn't matter, but too loud if you're the guy.
Now, 98 is when we get into the Denver Broncos era with Mr. Elway
and Mike,
Mr. Lynch,
and Mike Terrell Davis.
Terrell, TD.
Saluting after every touchdown. Saluting the fans
Did
after
he
every
get
touchdown.
200 yards?
Not in the Super Bowl.
He had 3 tutties, I think, in one game.
Nobody has 200 yards except Tim Smith.
Yeah. But I think he had 3 tutties in one game.
Probably.
But they went back to back, yeah. And then Elway retired, which is the best thing you should do, I think, as a pro athlete. Go out. I don't know when.
Well, that was also 17 years for him.
It's what I mean. He came in with 83 with Todd Blackledge, Marino,
Ken O'Brien,
and Elway.
There was 5 of them. There was
within
one
the
more.
first 12.
Esiason?
Boomer, no.
Tony
Esiason.
Tony Eason.
Tony Eason from
New England.
Yeah. So there were 6 within like the top 24 drafts.
Yeah. And
the Bears didn't get
Ken
any
O'Brien
of them.
played for the Jets.
No, Cincinnati, 2.
Well,
Yeah, and the Jets.
Yeah. But I mean, some of those quarterbacks short-lived, and some, like Elway, played forever.
And Marino, I mean,
played the Super Bowl his second year, or his first year.
Never went back.
No, never went back. And it's kind of obviously he was.
And the first one chosen out of all those was whom? Todd Blackledge.
Yeah, I was going to say O'Brien, but
No, it was
Todd Blackledge.
Todd Blackledge.
And he probably played 2 years.
Yeah, now he's still commentating on ESPN.
That's an interesting.
While Elway is owning the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, Elway's got some
slight
physical
income.
He's got some physical demons currently. Nerve stuff. Not CTE that I know of, but nerve stuff in his hands. He's got, like something's causing him big trouble. But you get pounded on, and you're going to have some things. Not without a doubt. Football players take a beating. Hockey players, football players, non-contact sport basketball, they take a beating running up and down the court. but they're also 6'7" guys and on beyond that. So yep, back to back Denver Broncos back to back in the 99 game. The 98 game, I think it was probably a pretty close game, Green Bay and Denver. I'm not sure if that was back and forth or not.
Well, it was. That was the game. I think Andy Reid let him
run it in.
No, Sherman let him, or was it Mike?
It was Mike
Holmgren let him run it in to get the ball back, not to waste time, to get more time for his offense to be able to score, because they only needed, I think, less than 6 points to win.
Okay.
So he let him score to be able to get the ball back faster. Because all he knew Green Bay was going to do was take a knee and run the clock. They weren't going to try to score.
Right, and that's probably where you're saying Terrell got 3 touchdowns. He probably got a gimme touchdown
At the end.
And he was the MVP of that game.
Yeah.
And then we're going to 99, which is one of my favorite games. It wasn't close. The end of the game is 34-19. But a guy named Dwight White, I believe his name was, from Iowa, played for Atlanta. And Atlanta had the Dirty Bird. They would do that Dirty Bird when they scored a touchdown. I forget the running back's name, but he was a good running back. And they did the Dirty Bird in the end zone. Jamal Anderson is correct. But they would do that, and so they were losing the game 34-13.
They were getting trounced.
And it was only 4 minutes left, 3 minutes left in the game, or 2, not even. And Green Bay or Denver scored that touchdown to make it 34-13. Kicked off. White takes the kickoff, runs it back, touchdown. So it's 34-19. And Dan Reeves is the coach of Atlanta. And it makes sense to go for 1 point because you need 2 touchdowns to tie them if you get to 20.
You need 2 scores regardless.
Either way, even no matter what. So you take the simple thing, you guaranteed 1 point. So now you don't need to get 2 points at any time. And I don't even know if they had the 2-point conversion then. I don't think they did.
No, they did not.
So the 1 point makes all the sense in the world.
It was important.
Well, so they go to commercial after the touchdown. And I back up a second. They did have the 2-point conversion because Chris Chandler comes back out on the field. They went for the 2-point conversion, didn't get it.
Right, so
the game ended 34-19. And me and my friend that I visited last week had a strip card with the number 3 on it for $50.
Were you gambling?
So we were gambling. We were illegal gambling in 1999, but it's legal now, so it's grandfathered in.
I'm not saying a word.
It was grandfathered in now.
Were you gambling illegally?
Yeah, but I forget who paid us. And we won.
It's probably the bar.
$1,250 on the extra point that didn't work. I wish that would happen again.
You can wish on one hand and shit in the other.
And
then let me know which one fills up first. Gets filled first.
Yes. I'll do that right when we're done.
Just make sure you're in your car. Not my house.
Well, there's extra room in there, extra seats that aren't used typically.
Yeah, socks in there too.
Sometimes something in your shoe.
Socks in there.
You got something?
Yeah.
But so that game. Okay, that game was over.
Of the 90s, right?
The 90s.
Of the 90s, well, your favorite Super Bowl was which one?
The 90s favorite Super Bowl.
And which team from the 90s was your favorite team?
Man.
And which player from the 90s was your favorite player?
Let's start it this way.
I want all 3.
Can't stand Dallas because Emmitt Smith broke Walter's records and didn't. And Walter had that line.
He did because he had the best line.
He had the best line that it was ever assembled.
Them and the Hogs of Washington, maybe.
So I think John Elway and Terrell Davis era is my favorite.
So the very end, 98, 99.
Yeah, I think that's my most fun to watch. That guy could run a 2-minute drill I don't think there's guys that do it as well even today, other than maybe Mahomes, maybe because Mahomes can throw the ball 45 yards underhand. It's kind of weird, but it's unbelievable. And I'm not a fan, but I watch him and he's good. But Elway could throw the ball 50 yards, and you better be ready to catch it because it's coming. It's gonna be there before you look.
Who was your favorite player of the 90s?
Favorite player of the 90s? That's
And it doesn't have to be anything Super Bowl related. I mean, it's just who is your favorite player of the 90s?
yeah. There's so many guys that were still, playing.
Dion.
Yeah, Dion was never
But
my
I'm saying
favorite.
that, I mean,
He was never my favorite player, although he was a really good player, good baseball. He was a dual sport
90,
player.
you had the injection of the Jaguars and the Panthers.
Yeah, so we got some Minnesota Vikings from that era that were pretty good players. Jack Del Rio, fun guy to watch. Hugh Douglas from Philadelphia was good to watch, good player. A couple of defensive linemen for the Minnesota Vikings were good players. I
John
think
Randall.
he was awesome.
It was a stud.
So, but watch most of the players. I guess the Favre era. I'm a Bear fan, so it's hard to say that.
We back.
Yeah, here's the question of the night for everybody: what two coaches won the Super Bowl and the Rose Bowl? Now, there's been more than two coaches that won an NFL championship and a college championship, but only two have won the Super Bowl and the Rose Bowl. And when I was asked this question randomly Friday night, a friend of mine was walking by, knowing that I have some information, and he walked by, and before he could get past me out of earshot, I gave him the one answer he didn't think anybody would get, and he coached the team that lost the Super Bowl first, and then he coached the team that won the Super Bowl. So he coached the team that lost the Super Bowl in the 80s, and he coached the team that won the Super Bowl in the 2000s.
And Jimmy Johnson was one of them.
Jimmy Johnson wasn't one of them.
Didn't
win the Rose Bowl. Might have won. Might have won a championship.
He was the one that won the championship.
Yeah.
In the duel.
Yep. And Barry Switzer.
And Switzer. Yeah.
And Paul Brown were the other three guys. Paul Brown with the Cleveland Browns, which are named the Cleveland Browns because of Paul Brown, PB. Quarterback, and they went and got him.
Oh yeah.
And he was so good, Bob Evelyn. He was great quarterback. Oh my God. He couldn't throw the ball 8 yards. Robin Earl became a tight end.
It was originally a running back.
He was a fullback.
And then
but he became a tight end because Avellini could only throw the ball 8 yards, and he needed somebody to stand out there in the flat
And catch it.
and catch it.
Right.
And that was Robin
That
Earl.
was terrible. Vince Evans was then
Avellini's still around here somewhere,
in a bar somewhere, I think.
under the bar somewhere. But
He-
he was also a pretty good. I think George Hallis or the Hallis family liked Bob Avellini for some reason. I think he had some connection with.
I think it was cheap.
I think he had a
He was
connection with a McCaskey offspring. I'm not sure if it was that or a Hallis offspring, but he was connected somehow.
Mike McCaskey.
Well, one of their kids was dating Bob Avellini. Yeah, that McCaskey, Mike McCaskey. He was awesome.
He all.
He's way gone now.
He gone.
He took the fast train.
Fuck Mike McCaskey.
Yeah. One of the things
My podcast, I can say whatever the fuck I want.
one of the things I always got. I was not crazy about the coach Iron Mike, although he got us a Super Bowl. But when he finally said that he let Mike McCaskey talk him into getting rid of Wilbur Marshall, and that was the end of the dynasty. That's it. That was the most honest thing that I heard, and it was like, yep, that cost us a lot because people would want to come and play on that defense if Wilbur Marshall was still here. As it was, they did come, but we didn't win. Even with the new sheriffs in town and all the other stuff that we had, we didn't win.
Can't win with Steve Fuller.
No.
Or Doug Flutie.
Or Cade McNown.
Well, that was after. Cade was 89, I think.
But he had a parking spot. He had a nice parking spot.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I was saying about 85 and 86, not repeating after the Super Bowl in 85. McMahon got hurt,
Tomczak.
and then they brought
Mike Tomczak.
No, Tomczak was back in 89 from Ohio State.
Fuller?
Fuller, it was Steve Fuller played it.
Fuller played the Super Bowl season a lot.
Yeah. In the
I don't know who else we got. We got Jim Harbaugh somewhere in there.
Jimmy was 90, 92, 93. He was at Carl's wedding.
When Ditka's got him by the shirt on the sideline.
Yeah, because he was changing the play and then threw the ball right to the Minnesota Viking to return it for a touchdown when he called an audible.
He was open. The guy was open. Who are you supposed to throw it to?
I think
Harbaugh. Don't you throw it to the open man?
I think Harbaugh was wearing khakis then.
But don't you throw it to the open man?
Well, on your team.
Oh, sorry. I forgot. Purple and white or blue.
Not on our team.
Not wrong side. Wrong side, right. So 2000. You want to go to 2000?
You know why I want to go to 2000?
You don't, or you do?
No, I do. Because I have a close connection with that team on 2000.
We got the greatest show on turf with Lenny Bruce, Isaac Bruce, and Kurt Warner, Dick Vermeil, the coach we talked about. Good coach. Good Dick Vermeil, good coach. In Philadelphia, he said he slept in the locker room on game weeks because he didn't want to go home. He wanted to keep everything going. So they were good. They were really good, that team, the Rams. But the Titans only didn't win the Super Bowl by about 7 inches, right?
No, 7 yards.
7 yards?
Yeah.
No, I thought he caught the ball at the end line.
No, because that's why I said I got the close relationship with that game because the guy that I played opposite,
the guy that tackled the receiver.
No, Jeff was standing on the goal line at the time when he was tripped up and he fell. Remember, and he was trying to reach the ball out, but he was only at the 5 All right, we're back.
There we go.
Fuck Comcast and Xfinity, whatever.
So we went to the Ravens with Ray Lewis as the MVP of 2001 Super Bowl.
He's a killer.
New York Giants. Yeah, he was a killer. I think that they had Suggs. Maybe not yet.
They did.
Suggs was there, and he took up two guys.
It was like his rookie year.
And Ray Lewis, you couldn't go past him, sideline to sideline.
Tony Siragusa.
Tony Siragusa, right? The Goose. The Goose wasn't a end zone reporter yet. He was a lineman.
He was a
And he
lineman
was
that
good.
weighed about 370, 300
Unmovable.
And he was just and then they also had one of the best defensive backs ever out of Miami, Mr. Ed
Reed,
Yep.
tremendous player. Played 17 years, I think.
One of the
or
best
18 or 19
yeah,
years.
one of the best defensive backs ever.
He's a tremendous player. He earned his money, that guy.
Oh yeah, by far.
2002, the Tom Brady era starts. The Rams
And they won that.
and the Patriots.
Didn't Vinatieri win that game?
That is probably correct.
That was the last second kickoff or last second field goal to win it.
Yeah, I don't think they were losing the game. Well, maybe they were losing the
They
game.
were losing. They had to win.
Yeah.
That was Vinatieri before he went to the Colts.
Right. They traded kickers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Colts and who was the Colts kicker? He was a Patriots kicker then for 15 years or something. After that, funny because there's so much emphasis put on Tom Brady. You know, I mean, you remember some of the other guys, some of the players, you know, like Teddy Bruschi and different guys that were there,
Gronkowski,
right? And
Randy Moss,
the wide receivers, Randy Moss, and the good, just the great players.
Terrell Owens.
But it was always about Tom Brady, no matter what else was happening. Running back, don't make any difference.
Aaron Hernandez.
Don't make any difference who's there. Aaron Hernandez, yeah, that's that's a story that's different than the stories we're talking about. Definitely not a Super Bowl MVP, but a talented player that wasted it.
What about he's part of the tribe, Edelstein?
Yep.
And then the one before him, the little scat back. Come on.
Played for St. Louis.
No. The one that was the original Julian Edelman. Come on. You know what it is.
I know who it is, but like I said, Tom Brady was the focal point always of that team.
I know about it.
And
this
I don't.
Guy would catch everything. He actually saved the Super Bowl by catching that ball behind him. Remember that? He caught the ball behind him. If he would have dropped that, they wouldn't have been in position to be able to kick the field goal. Come on. Come on.
Not Don.
No. You're thinking of Don Beebe.
He was from Buffalo.
Buffalo, yes.
He's the guy that caught the Dallas player from behind and knocked the ball out the 2-yard line.
Leonard, not Leonard Hamilton.
Picked up the fumble and
he did. It was so
he was going to spike it at the one.
Celebrate before he got in there.
Leon Lett.
Yeah. Come on, somebody out there.
I don't have the recall on these wide receivers like that. If you got his initials, I'll get it probably.
I'll think of it. Let's go to
Go to 03. We got the bag. It's Tampa Bay now
against Oakland
with the defensive juggernaut. Warren Sapp, Brooks,
Nickerson,
Simeon Rice, just unbelievable. And Troy, was it Troy Johnson? Was that the quarterback's name? Or some Brad Johnson?
It was Brad Johnson.
And Dexter Jackson is the MVP. He must have been
He was a defensive back. He got
defensive
the
back interception, more than one because of the pass rush. But Warren Sapp, the Bears didn't want him because he smoked marijuana like Randy Moss. They could have drafted him. They didn't want him.
Just absolutely terrible decisions.
A lot of that stuff is ridiculous, dumb stuff. And then we're back with the Patriots on the back-to-backs. Patriots in Carolina with Jack Del Rio was the coach of Carolina. And the Patriots, I don't think it was a blowout game, but I don't think it was close. I don't know that there was anything. And Deion Branch, that's the guy you're talking about.
Yeah.
Why do I know that? Why did I come up with that?
Deion Branch was the receiver.
Why did I come up with that? It's written on the page. All I had to do was look ahead.
Well, you read.
But it's hard to go ahead when you're so far behind.
That's what she said.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
So the Patriots played the Eagles with Donovan McNabb
D-Mac.
throwing up in the helmet.
D-Mac.
Uh-huh.
Terrell Owens.
Yeah.
Andy Reid.
And they tore him up.
Andy Reid.
Andy Reid, coach of the Eagles? Yes, I think so.
He was before, yeah.
Yep.
He was there
I
a
think
while.
that's correct.
And
that's where Deion Branch is the MVP of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, for New England. That's when didn't Philadelphia also have
Philadelphia running back?
No, because they didn't have a
wide receiver? What are you talking
No, I
about?
was trying to think of their stud on defense that played that.
Hugh Douglas.
Yeah, he was the pressure rusher from the outside.
He might not have been there in 05, though. Well, I think he was. I think Hugh Douglas was there in 05.
And then 06 was the Bears, Indianapolis, the infamous.
06 is Steelers in Seattle. That
was actually 05.
Roethlisberger's 05 season.
Yeah.
Roethlisberger's first win.
Yes.
Heinz Ward catching the ball in the end zone. I think that was a close game, I believe.
Well, it was because he made an
bus.
amazing catch, and that was Cowher's Super Bowl, not Tomlin's.
Yeah. Bill Cowher was a coach.
Yeah.
Right. And then we go to the Colts and again
06.
Again, Ben's first one, and I believe Heinz Ward was the MVP of that. And they had Jerome Bettis.
Jerome
Bettis.
Notre Dame.
Right.
1993.
The bus. And he crashed the party quite a bit there.
He ran for what, 12,000?
He was an awesome runner.
12,000, I think.
So, yeah, total lifetime 12,000. Is he in the top 10? He would be if he's there.
No, because I think Ricky Waters passed him.
Okay, I don't have
His
that.
teammate from Notre Dame.
Were they?
Yeah.
Ricky Waters is the guy that played with Steve Young.
Yeah.
Most of the time, right?
Yeah.
Because Craig is the guy that played with Joe Montana, Roger Craig.
Craig was the original West
from
Coast
the 80s.
Running back.
Yeah.
He was the original.
And he was good. He was really good.
Oh, yeah, by far.
Yep. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead to the Colts and the Bears with the kickoff return, the only time it's happened. Kickoff return for a touchdown. Thomas Jones playing for the Bears. They outrushed them in the first half by probably 50 or 60 yards, and then they didn't rush again in the second half and lost by 12 or 13 points, 26 to 13 or something like that, 27 to 13. And Peyton Manning's first Super Bowl, first win.
First win.
And then we're back to the Patriots.
07.
New York Giants and Patriots. And the New York Giants now are coached by Tom Coughlin.
Mm-hmm.
And they won.
And who was the quarterback?
The quarterback for the Giants, Frank Reich. Not Frank Reich. What was it, Frank Reich?
Frank Reich biked up. He backed up. Our boy in Buffalo.
Who's the New York? Oh, it's Eli Manning's the quarter. He beat the Patriots
Yes,
twice.
05.
He's
Or
the
07, yes.
and he's the MVP. That's the
Yeah.
ball that was caught on the helmet,
On the helmet, yes.
and it wasn't in the end zone.
No,
Was
it
caught on the
just got
helmet for a first
it
down.
Put him in put him in field goal.
Santana Holmes.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing.
And then the 08,
Yep, Steelers in Arizona.
that was actually a good game. Remember that?
We got Kurt Warner playing quarterback again.
In Arizona, but then you had Harrison running back. That was it a pick or a fumble? I think it was a pick. Remember, right at the end of the first half,
Yeah,
he stumbled like 75 yards.
yeah. That guy was a beast.
Still is a piece. It's just
And the Steelers had a great defense.
Oh, just amazing.
Those were Troy Polamalu.
Yeah,
Those guys. Those guys were good. They were really good. And the MVP of that was the MVP of that Super Bowl was
Roethlisberger.
Steelers in Arizona. No, that's Santonio Holmes. Santonio
Holmes. Yeah.
Because of the catch. And Kurt Warner's, they played. That was a close game, I believe.
It was a
It
close
was a blowout.
Yeah.
And then we go to 2009 with the Saints and the Colts. Drew Brees. Another great defense, but also a great offense. Drew Brees with the touchdown records and all the other stuff. And just an unbelievable team. They had a good defense. The Saints.
Studs.
The Aints.
They had studs.
The Bears made a mockery of them in 2006 because of Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush taunting Urlacher in a regular season game.
Yeah.
And then we rolled them over in the playoffs. But they were still good, and Reggie Bush was still there, and they won the Super Bowl. Cha-ching, right? Cha-ching. So we're up to 11. Aaron Rodgers, the Green Bay Packers, and Pittsburgh Steelers. I think Aaron Rodgers.
Well, what about 2010?
2010.
It was 2010.
Aaron Rodgers picked them apart. Threw for 3 touchdowns or 3 or 4 touchdowns in that game.
Let's finish. Let's pick up with
Randall
2011, and we'll go through 2020.
Yeah,
that would give us 10 years.
That's where we're going. That's 2022 is the end of it, but 2023 is the end of it. But we don't have.
We can go. No, we can go. Let's do that. Let's do 2011 through 2022.
So we got Randall Cobb as the MVP of 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
Number 2012, we're back to the Patriots, New York Giants, and Eli again. Eli Manning again. I think that was a close game. I think that was a field goal game or 5 points or something. It was back and forth.
It was a field goal game because they won at the last minute.
Yeah, I think that's correct. Don't know who the New York Giants kicker was, but doesn't matter either.
No, I remember the Giants fans. I was in Vegas.
We didn't get another chance. The Patriots didn't get another chance is what happened there, right?
Yeah. They didn't get the ball back.
And now we're going to the Ravens and the 49ers.
Ravens with Doug Flacco.
Joe Flacco,
yeah.
And Suggs.
T. Suggs was still playing.
Suggs had a game. That was his game, that game.
He was a monster in that game.
Right. And the 49ers were good. 49ers quarterback was Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah. That was actually that was an
That was a
exciting
good game. They
It
played
really
good.
was
It
an
was a
exciting
close,
game.
good game, but they
It
played
was, yeah.
both defenses
And that was
played.
the Harbaugh brothers against each other,
Right,
coaching
sure was.
in the game.
One of the few, the only time that
brothers
brothers coached
yeah.
against each other in the Super Bowl
Jim beat
or
him.
championship.
Yeah, Jim beat him.
He did. Well, no, John won the game,
John.
and Flacco might have been the MVP.
Yeah.
With an assist from Suggs. In 2014, we got Seattle and Denver.
Marshall.
Right.
Beast mode.
Right. And Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
Right. Russell Wilson now playing for the Denver Broncos, getting paid $46 million, and they hate him. The fans hate him, not the team. Because he's overpaid, but they didn't have a team either.
They were just talking about Daniel Jones making $45 million a year at the Giants. Daniel Jones.
How is it possible?
I mean, what is going on?
We were paying
That
Cutler. We were paying Cutler when he didn't play for the Bears, so it's the same garbage coming back.
But how does a guy like Daniel Jones, who hasn't done anything, justify $45 million a year?
Yeah. And
to 2015,
the 14 season,
14,
Patriots in Seattle back to back
was,
with the Malcolm Butler.
Yeah, he just cut off.
Should have been running the ball instead of
were
passing
pounding it the whole time.
And let's pass it.
Pete Carroll got cute and he fucked himself out of a Super Bowl.
He turned a page on the playbook and it cost him.
He abandoned exactly what got him down there.
Dumb.
You know what?
One of the dumb football decisions.
And the Patriots didn't win. I mean, the Patriots didn't win that game. They were given that game by stupidity.
Tom Brady was the MVP, and he gave Malcolm Butler the MVP bonus, the car, Corvette, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't have won without that.
Exactly.
And then we're right going back to Peyton Manning with the Broncos in Carolina.
And that was, Carolina being there was surprising.
Von Miller took over the game,
and
just crushed them. I mean, he made
Ron Rivera was.
Ron Rivera was a coach of Carolina.
Cam Newton.
Right, they had a good team.
They did, real good team.
But Von Miller was unstoppable in that particular game.
Yeah, they couldn't. Their tackle could.
I think it was a low-scoring game, 19-10 or something like that. Patriots again, 2016. Patriots in Atlanta, 27-3. They were losing 27-3.
Halftime.
And they won.
They come out and they win.
In overtime,
crazy.
They scored a touchdown. Got the ball first and scored a touchdown and won the game. That's what happened there.
Truly unbelievable.
Actually, just ridiculous. That should never happen. And Tom Brady, of course, the MVP for bringing him back. And then we got the Eagles and the Patriots with the flea flicker play with Nick Foles. That Doug and Peterson was the coach.
Doug Peterson.
And the Eagles won. Big time. First one for the Eagles. First championship for the Eagles. Big deal. It was a big deal for the city of Philadelphia.
Philadelphia's a shithole. I don't care what you say.
No.
If you live there, I don't care. Philadelphia's a shithole.
People don't want to live there. They don't want to live there or San Francisco or Los Angeles.
The ones that want to justify that live there, I don't believe you. If you're both shit.
Yeah. How come you don't move back there if you used to live there?
Philadelphia sucks.
That's what I'll say.
It's New Jersey.
But they won.
It's New Jersey South and East.
And then we got the Patriots coming back playing the Los Angeles Rams.
That was a great game.
Julian Edelman, star of the game, catching everything across the middle.
Everything. Couldn't stop.
First, they need a first down. It's third down and 16, and he's got 17.
Couldn't stop.
Yep. So they and I don't think it was a blowout, but they won by more than one score. And we're coming into the Pat Mahomes era.
P. Mahomes, who was drafted the third
Number
quarterback
10.
drafted in that after
He could have been drafted number
Mitch
2 or 1.
Trubisky and Mr. Deshaun Watson,
Watson.
and then P. Mahomes from Texas Tech.
Right. He
And
wasn't that good.
P. Mahomes has, because he didn't play at top level because Texas Tech. Really? Seriously? Joe Flacco plays at Delaware?
They were Division Division One.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he wasn't. His dad was a baseball player.
Doesn't mean he's gonna
Maybe
be
that's why he
right.
was no
Doesn't
good
mean-
for football.
But he's got 2 Super Bowl rings.
I wouldn't have drafted him.
You didn't.
Right, because I wasn't the guy that was supposed to draft him working for the Bears. If I was, I would have probably drafted him. How dumb can you be, honestly? At least they interviewed him, which they didn't interview Watson. The Bears did not interview Watson because they didn't need him. They had Mitch Trubisky on the hook, and they were going to trade up for him.
I don't know.
Good job. Wonder what happened to that general manager. Oh, he got fired.
He all.
Yeah. 21. Tom Brady.
This time with the new
Tampa
team.
Bay.
First time ever.
Tampa Bay.
Somebody wins.
Tampa Bay. And who'd they play in that for that Super Bowl? The Chiefs.
Yeah.
And beat them. It wasn't. Again, it wasn't a blowout game, but I don't think the Chiefs were actually in it at the end. I think Tom Brady kind of picked them apart.
He had closed it already.
22, we got the LA Rams. Cooper Kupp
Youngest quarterback ever to win,
against the Bengals, the youngest quarterback ever.
or
Huh?
the youngest head coach.
Stafford was the quarterback.
Youngest head coach, though.
Sean McVay.
Yeah, McMahon. He was what, like 34 years old?
Yeah, could have still been playing
Crazy.
if he was any good as a player.
He's
I don't think he was.
Still 11 years younger than Tom.
Yeah, and Cooper Kupp. I
Kupp
think Cooper Kupp was the
crushed it.
MVP of that of 21, 22.
He crushed it that game.
And so we're home, and we're going to this year, which I got the information from my brother-in-law football referee yesterday, how much I didn't know about football, and I was glad he straightened me out because
You calling him out?
they shouldn't have called a flag in the end zone.
He's
It
calling.
wasn't in the end zone, but the holding, because he really wasn't holding, but that referee doesn't have the right to throw the flag, even though he was the closest to the play. And the defensive player put his hand on the back of the jersey facing the end zone. So I'm not sure if I didn't see the same thing as my brother-in-law saw.
Maybe he had a special angle that you didn't have,
Maybe he was at the game.
or maybe he was playing.
Maybe. I didn't think of that. He could have been playing with himself. By himself.
With him.
In the backyard.
Or for himself.
They had him patched in. He was the referee in the booth. Why didn't I think of that before?
Brilliant, genius.
And they didn't call New York
No.
to see if there was
They
no
called
play
your brother-in-law.
because they threw a flag on the field. They didn't need to call New York.
Nope.
So my brother-in-law called down and said, "That's a stupid play, but let it go."
He's got that control.
Well,
You didn't know that.
so he just didn't want to have his name out there.
He's not a bragger.
Well, because he's that good.
Why? You want to remain anonymous.
Like the guys that you never hear their name, they're
Yeah.
the good players and the good coaches and refs. The guys you hear their name, they're always getting involved in something they're not supposed to be involved in.
Yeah.
Billy Bob Thornton,
Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown.
All right. So next, what are we going to talk about next time?
What should we
Let's
talk about?
about baseball.
We want to talk about baseball.
So we have to pick one specific topic of baseball.
Okay.
We have to determine whether it's going to be
The shot clock.
No, that's
No, you think that's too?
no, that's no.
that's
I
too-
it
that's
sucks,
too-
and I hate it because they're changing the damn
Okay.
game.
Okay.
Why?
Okay.
Because
They can.
because the commissioners just, you know what, we're going to change the game.
So I don't know if it was fun for everybody else on the NFL, but you might have learned something. You might have got something out of it, because I always do. So when you go over something twice, that's where you learn the most, because you hear it again and you say, "Oh, that didn't happen that way. It didn't happen that way." Then you look it up and say, "Okay, it happened like this, or it didn't, or it did," and you get more information if you care. And be passionate about it. You know, the game is a great game. Football is not complicated, but however, so I'd like to point that out to the pros. Uncomplicate the game, and you'll win a lot more, Mr. Coach and Mr. Referee. Uncomplicate the game. Uncomplicate the call. Pass interference.
Yeah.
First down. First down. What do you say about that? That was fun.
We got Dick Hockley over here.
Yeah, Hockley Jr. is out there now.
Yeah, he's got some guns now.
He's got
his dad's.
He's got. Yeah, I can't do it. Danny's got him, but I don't. No.
All right. Next time we're talking baseball.
Baseball.
All right.
Talking baseball. Baseball season's here.
That's it. Pitchers and catchers report.
Good night.
Thanks, everybody.
See ya.
Peace and hair grease. I'll be back.
Take care of yourself.
We are out. Keep in touch with yourself, okay?
Yeah. And always wear clean underwear.
Hey, Sonny Kim always said that. Keep in touch with yourself.
Right. Always wear clean underwear in case you don't have an accident.
That's right. Don't have an accident.